Welcome, Dharma Warrior. In this space, we walk the path of truth with steady hearts, protect what is sacred, and choose peace without abandoning strength. Breathe in presence, breathe out resistance. Let's begin. Before we begin today's episode, I want to share something with you. Because if my tone sounds a little different today, it's because today is just one of those days. The kind of day where hormones aren't cooperating, vendors are sending confusing emails, software isn't working the way it's supposed to, and you look at your to-do list and you're thinking, absolutely not. And those days happen. The reason I'm telling you this is because I never want to pretend that I've somehow mastered life or that difficult days just disappear because you've begun healing, because it's simply not true. I've spent weeks writing, planning, building systems, solving problems, adapting to technology when it's failed, and trying to move a vision forward. Some days you feel like you're making incredible progress, and other days you feel like you're standing still simply because everything around you seems to be pushing back. But here I am. I'm still showing up. Not because today feels easy, not because I'm overflowing with motivation, but because discipline often matters more than emotion. Writing these episodes is simply a hobby and not income generating, so I am simply showing up for those that choose to walk beside me. Today's topic isn't an easy one either. In fact, it's a message I believe both those who have opposed me throughout my life and those who have faithfully walked beside me can learn something from. To my loyal listeners, I hope today's episode becomes another piece of gold you can place in your library for the moments when life just simply tests your character. And to those who once believed my silence meant weakness, ignorance, or surrender, you misunderstood it. Silence is not ignorance. Sometimes silence is discipline. Sometimes silence is restraint. Sometimes silence is choosing respect when others choose intimidation. There is a profound difference between refusing to become what wounded you and refusing to defend yourself. Today we're going to explore the difference. Let's begin. Today I want to talk about revenge, not because I want it, but because I finally understand why I never will. People often think revenge is strength, but I think revenge is cheap. Anyone can react. Anyone can hit back. Anyone can make another person hurt because they are hurting. There is nothing remarkable about that. People often mistake justice with revenge, accountability with punishment, boundaries with retaliation, healing by someone else's suffering. To the person with ill intent, revenge promises relief. But character asks a harder question. Why would I put myself into trouble trying to teach them a lesson? Put it this way. If someone damages my car and I in turn go slash their tires, guess who's risking getting arrested? Me. And congratulations. Now there are 2 damaged, revengeful humans versus 1. Not to mention, I've just added my own bad decision to theirs. That's not justice. That's stupidity. Revenge may satisfy the ego for a moment, but accountability has the power to change tomorrow. The real challenge is asking what actually will solve the problem. If I get revenge, maybe I feel better for 5 minutes, but that's a Band-Aid effect because pretty soon the masks will fall, the truth shines through, and now there's more egg on your face than a baker's souffle exploding in their face. So what does revenge change? Nothing. The same system exists, the same behaviors continue, the same virus simply finds yet another host. That does not interest me. Justice interests me. There is a difference. Justice says there are consequences. Revenge says I have to become the consequence. I refuse. Not because I cannot, but because I do not want to become anything that resembles the perpetrator and nothing of me. I have often said that if I stub my toe, I have nobody else to blame but myself. And the same principle applies to life. Our choices matter. If someone lies, if someone manipulates, if someone breaks the law, eventually those choices belong to them. I do not need to carry them. I certainly do not need to become the judge, the jury, or the executioner. If the law needs to act, then the law will act. If life teaches the lesson, let life teach it. And if you believe in God, then let God be the judge. Why would I risk adding karma on my own life trying to punish someone else? That is not freedom. That is simply yet another prison. Here's something that surprised me because recently someone misunderstood me. And for a brief moment when I was discussing my own personal circumstances and variables, the person listening thought I was talking about revenge when I was actually talking about justice. And it hurt, not because we disagreed, but because I felt unseen and completely misunderstood. Questioning if this person actually knows my character or if they are making up their own creation or image of me. I felt like I was in a complete waste of time, disappointed after all these years. They still didn't know who I was in my heart of hearts. And then something beautiful happened. Instead of staying silent, instead of walking away, we talked, we listened, we learned. And that reminded me of something. Because the old Rosie would have stayed quiet and left saddened. The old Rosie would have carried the hurt home, not only disappointed that they didn't actually hear me, but thinking that they had such a different impression of who I was that it felt like we were living on two completely different planets. But that day I stayed patient. Why? Because I'm tired of being misunderstood and walking away feeling like nobody actually sees the real me. Was I a little stubborn? Sure, absolutely. But I thought at this point I have nothing else to lose because I have no one left in my corner. So I might as well make do with the person willing to sit down with me. I thought to myself, Rosie, you've done enough healing to give this person the time and the space to see things differently. And so I patiently asked them as to the why they made that assumption of me. It took bravery, and truthfully, I really did put them on the spot right then and there. Had I given up on the conversation, they would have walked away with an assumption that simply wasn't true. And I like my water clear, not murky. And so with mutual patience and willingness to not assume, they finally got to the point where they could actually see me for me versus their own projection. But I had to politely confront why they would think that of me in the first place. And that is growth. You want to know why I had to finally be seen for who I am? Because I wouldn't even hurt a fly. Like literally, if one manages to fly into my apartment, I'll trap them in a cup, slide a piece of paper underneath, and carry them outside. Not because I'm trying to be a saint, it's just simply who I am. Hurting living things has never been a part of my composition. So for all of you catch and release fishermen out there, why don't you find a less harmful hobby that doesn't involve fooling, entrapping, and potentially injuring an innocent fish just so you can have a good time? So I tell you all this because I'm simply describing my character. Because if I wouldn't intentionally hurt a fly, why would anyone think I would intentionally hurt another human being? And before anyone misunderstands me, I'm talking about anyone impersonating someone else, committing fraud, signing fake signatures, illegally taking photographs, intellectual theft, and need I continue because the list is longer. Accountability is not cruelty. Consequences are not revenge. You can believe people should answer for what they've done without becoming the person who hurts them. Their own actions speak for themselves. I will stand up for myself. I will show receipts, but no harm, no foul from this gal. That is simply a line I refuse to cross. Because if I cross it, then whatever hurt me has already won. I'd rather build. I'd rather change systems. I'd rather leave something behind that protects the next person. Revenge ends with me. Justice reaches beyond me. One satisfies the ego, the other serves the future. So today I'll leave you with this question. When someone hurts you, do you want them to feel your pain Or do you want your experience to become the reason the next person doesn't have to? Because those are not the same mission. One is revenge, the other is purpose, and purpose will always outlive revenge. So be like the snake, dear Dharma warriors, for a snake does not waste its venom on every creature that crosses its path. Venom is for survival, not for settling scores. Strength isn't measured by how hard you strike back. It's measured by knowing what and who is worth protecting. Until we meet again, walk with courage, lead with compassion, and protect your peace.
We are the same but different.